Hello, everyone. Welcome to my first. I haven't done a live since May of this year. If you don't know me yet, I am Kelli Thompson. I'm a women's leadership coach. I'm a speaker, and I am the author of the soon to be published book, Closing the Confidence Gap, Boost Your Peace, Your Potential, and Your Paycheck, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. So, this book was published by Amplify Publishing. They did a gorgeous job on that cover. Look at that. It's all shiny. So hello, drop me an emoji or just give me a like or say a hey if you're here. I would love to know who's all joining me today because this is the part one of a 4-part series on closing the confidence gap. I want to walk through my book and just very quickly highlight some of the chapters. And I want to share a couple of big ideas that I talk about in each one of the chapters, maybe answer some questions, and then give you a tool that you can use to walk away so that you can boost your peace, your potential, and your paycheck. So this is part one, video one. I'll be live every Tuesday at 11:30 for the next 4 weeks. And today I want to talking about 2 big ideas to build more confident women leaders at work. And so let me just kind of walk through these first couple of chapters because these big ideas really come from the introduction of the book, chapter 1 and chapter 2. So plus, how cool is that? Thanks to my publisher. Thanks to Jenna for giving me some hot pink end sheets. If you haven't figured out that these are kind of my colors. So I want to talk just very quickly about the introduction of the book. In fact, in the introduction of the book, I talk a little bit about why I wrote the book. I actually start off by asking you, what would you do if you had a little more confidence? And I would love for you just to even just tell me in the comments, whether you're watching me live or you're watching this on replay, tell me, like, what would you do if you had a little more confidence? In fact, as I prepared to write this book, I asked that question of over 500 women. Now I've asked that question of over like 1,500. And I just heard the most inspiring things. I heard things like, I would run for office. I would ask for the promotion. I would ask for the raise. I would start my side hustle. I'd finally start that business. I'd set some boundaries. I'd speak up. I'd share an idea. So tell me, what would you do if you had a little more confidence? And in those conversations, especially as a coach and a trainer, like I start to think about what would be the ripple effect of all of those things. Like, just imagine if all of these women just took like even a small step in doing what they said they would do if they had a little more confidence. Well, we know from the research that actually like our communities would be better off, our families would be better off. My husband he's a financial advisor, and he was actually sharing a new statistic with me yesterday that says that, when women have money, they reinvest it into their families. Like, there's nothing wrong with women having more money. Like, there's a lot of things that are right with women having more money. And so that really inspired me, like, well, what would we do if we had a little more confidence? And I just remember, and I talk about this in the introduction of the book, sitting in my boss's office, and we were just talking about our goals and our dreams. And I was like, oh, I've always wanted to write a leadership book, I've always wanted to write a book. But I said, but it will never be a leadership book, because we laughed at the time, like the leadership books we had to compare ourselves to. And maybe if you're listening live or on replay, drop in the comments what your favorite leadership book is. But a lot of the leadership books at that time, 2008, were written by men. We're thinking like Execution by Jack Welch, and The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, and Good to Great by Jim Collins. Like, there just wasn't leadership books written by women. And even if you do a Google search, you'll still find it will return a list of books written by men. And so it just didn't even feel like a category I wanted to enter into. But then, I was working in corporate as a leader for many years, and then I left corporate. And I actually encountered something in the entrepreneurship world called masterminds. These masterminds are made up of all women, all business owners, trying to figure out how to run our business and figure out what we even do. And we would get together and we would talk about things that only impacted women, like the gender pay gap, what it was like being a working mom, all of the doubt that we felt and imposter syndrome we felt in corporate America of like sharing our ideas and speaking up. We talked about like, being the only woman in the room and how often we would self-censor, we would get mansplained or, chosen over for like, opportunities, maybe because we just hadn't built that on our resume yet, because we were consistently underselected. I mean, there was just all of these things that were safe. And I thought to myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I needed in corporate America. I needed a group of women leaders, preferably from even outside my organization, that I could come and talk to, collaborate with, and really talk about the issues that affected women leaders in the workplace today, I would have had so much more confidence to be a better leader at work. I would have had so many more tools. And then I launched a women's leadership program called the Clarity and Confidence Women's Leadership Program that I offer twice a year. And that was it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the book. This is like what I want to, because again, not everybody has access to or has even heard of the program. So like, if I just put this in a book, then maybe like women could have everything they needed to lead with more confidence, to boost their peace, their potential, and their paycheck for about $30. And so that was the goal of writing the book. And so that's a little bit more about the intro. Chapter 1, it's called Claim Your Role as a Confident Leader. And, I talk a lot about my own story and my own journey of like following all the rules and checking off all the boxes of who I thought I was supposed to be to show up with more confidence and be happy and successful in my life and my work. And basically what it boils down to is that all my rule following got me in a lot of trouble, and it led to a lot of misery, to which I describe in the book. And I talk about this kind of having an aha moment when the Hamilton meme was going around the interwebs that says, it's Alexander Hamilton says to Aaron Burr, if you don't know what you stand for, what will you fall for? And I was like, oh my God, I've been falling for everything. Like I wasn't even clear on what I stood for. And so defining what I stood for, really naming and claiming my values, not only helped me make better decisions in my personal life, but I feel like it made me a more confident leader. Because here's the thing, the world is going to tell you all the things that you need to be. You're going to have so many decisions to make, so many conversations to have, so many ways you're supposed to show up in the world. And if you're just kind of going along with whatever you think is kind of popular or fashionable, like it really is a confidence killer. And so by knowing what I stood for and naming my values and helping my clients name their values, like it gives us a leg to stand on to say, nope, this is what I say yes to because it's in alignment with my values. This is what I say no to because it's out of alignment with my values. And my leadership values, define how I wrote this book, how I wanted to show up in the world, how I make decisions the way that I do. And a lot of people roll their eyes when they're like, oh, values work. It's always the first assignment that I give them. And I'll be honest, lots of times they're like, I don't know. I feel it's like that. Because you think of corporate values plastered on a website, stuff people put up that you don't really follow through on. And they all say at the end, like, you know what? Naming my values made everything so clear for me. It made my yeses and nos so clear. And when I did have to make decisions at work or I did have to communicate something, I knew how to do it because I did it in alignment with my values. So that's chapter 1. And I give you tools to find your values so you can claim your role as a confident leader. And then chapter 2 is called Tame Your Imposter Monster. And that might be maybe one of my favorite chapters in the book. But it's all about how to really overcome some of the doubt and the imposter syndrome that we feel as women, and how expensive our thoughts can be. And expensive thoughts like, I'm not qualified. If I do this, I'm just going to be found out. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be a failure. I'm not enough. I mean, you can probably list in the comments all of the expensive thoughts you've ever thought. And I say these thoughts are expensive because they kill our peace, they kill our potential, and they kill our paycheck. And so the framework in chapter 2 is how to kind of work with these expensive thoughts and reframe them in a way that helps you recognize that, feeling doubt doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. In fact, I would argue, and you can give me an emoji or tell me in the comments, like, I'm sure y'all have felt doubt before you've done some of the greatest things you've ever done in your life or in your career. In fact, I argue that doubt is a normal and healthy human emotion that means that you're doing something right. It means you're stretching your comfort zone. And so there's a lot of tools to how to do the thing you're supposed to do while also feeling doubt. And so that's kind of an overview of the chapter, but I want the first 3 chapters, which are the introduction, claiming your role as a confident leader, and then taming your imposter monster. But I want to share 2 really big ideas that kind of, I think, come from those first 3 sections of the book. And big idea number 1 is this: organizations have a role to play in women's confidence, doubt, and imposter syndrome. There are some systemic things in play in which I believe perpetuate women continuing to feeling higher than level normals of doubt or imposter syndrome as compared to men. And I talk about the study of the confidence gap from Wharton to substantiate this. Because in far too many organizations, women still can't see themselves in the rooms where decisions are made. They still look up and see all male leadership teams. It is shocking to me how often I will go and look at an organization and go and click on about me and click on leadership, and I still see all men on the leadership team. And so the research has shown is that when people don't see themselves in the rooms where decisions are made, it can perpetuate a feeling of like lack of belonging, lack of inclusion, imposter syndrome. I can't see myself. And when I get to that room, I'm the only one, which has a whole other layer of psychological safety present on which they can contribute. And so the big idea here is we don't need to fix women's confidence. We need more women in leadership. In fact, I have an open letter to CEOs in there, and I won't give it away. Far too many leaders come to me saying, "Oh, I need to fix someone's confidence." I'm like, "Well, we can't fix anyone's confidence. Like, we need to take a look at the systemic things that are happening in organizations that are not supporting a healthy level of self-confidence and self-advocacy." So, big idea number 1 is we need to take a look at some of the things that are happening systemically in organizations and ask ourselves, do we have women well represented at the top? Because a lack of representation perpetuates continual issues like doubt and imposter syndrome and a lack of belonging and a lack of psychological safety. And that has to be addressed. In fact, throughout the book, I make a very both and argument on a lot of things in that I address this many of the systemic issues that women face in the workplace while also advocating some solutions that women can use to succeed in spite of those challenges. So that's big idea number 1. Big idea number 2 is as women, we still have our part to play. So, yes, are there things that need to happen at the organizational level to support women in the workplace to reduce some feelings of imposter syndrome? Yes. And imposter syndrome is a very real feeling. Like, I don't know, give me a heart, a like, drop me an emoji if you've ever felt it. It's real. And I don't want to walk around and being like, oh, you shouldn't have that. Like, that's just bypassing a very real feeling. So, yes, we have a part to play. And as women, we need to take action while also feeling doubt. Take action while also feeling imposter syndrome. We need to stop telling ourselves the story that we are unqualified and unready. In fact, a brand new article that just came out, wish it could be in my book, from Harvard Business Review says that many times we promote men based on potential and are still like looking at women's performance records before we promote them. It's probably why women say that, they will only apply for a job when they meet 100% of the qualifications, while men will apply when they meet 60. As a former HR person, I can tell you that men applied for jobs when it made them feel excited. And women would hold back going, oh, I just don't have this one thing. Maybe I should go back to school. And I'm like, no, if it makes you excited, just do it. So big idea number 2 from the book is this. We need to do our part. We need to stop believing the lie that we are unqualified and unready. And we need to find comfort feeling uncomfortable in speaking up and taking our bravest next steps. You can go on to do great things while also feeling doubt. You can speak up while also feeling imposter syndrome and recognizing that confidence is a side effect of taking action. The actions of confidence come first and the feelings of confidence come second. So I want to leave you with a tool that you can use until we meet again next week. And I talk about the next part of my book, which is boosting your peace. And I'll talk about a few more chapters. So I want to leave you with this. This is a tool I give in the book. And there's also a downloadable toolkit that will come with the book. Is when you're feeling doubt and imposter syndrome, I want you to use the notice it, name it, normalize it, and reframe it framework. First one, we're just going to notice it. I want you just to notice with a ton of compassion and not judgment that you're just feeling a lot of doubt or nerves or imposter syndrome. Okay, just notice it. And then I just want you to, and if you need to, just take a few deep breaths, like in for 4 counts and out for 4 counts. We're just going to notice it without criticizing it. I have yet to meet someone who can criticize themselves into more confidence, but let me know if you've met someone who can do that because I haven't. Next one is I just want you to name it. Okay. Naming your emotions actually doesn't give them power. It takes the power away. It creates emotional resiliency to go, oh, I get that. It's not this big, weird, heavy, nebulous feeling like, oh, I feel nerves. I feel excitement. I feel insecure. I feel doubt. I feel imposter feelings. So I want you to notice. I want you to name it. And I just want you to normalize it. 70% of people feel imposter syndrome. Every healthy person experiences doubt. I did an interview a few weeks ago with Padmasri Warrior, who's the CEO of Fable, the former CTO of Cisco and Motorola. and with Indra Nooyi, who is the CEO of Pepsi. And I asked them, I imagine you felt incredible self doubt in your careers. And they were like, uh huh. Okay. And these are two of the most highly accomplished women leaders in the world. Okay. And what they said was, if you aren't feeling any doubt, it probably means you're not stretching yourself enough. Because when we feel doubt, it's because we're stretching our comfort zone, and our ego hates all that discomfort and uncertainty. So normalize that feeling of doubt. Healthy people experience it. And the last one is to reframe it. I often tell myself, this is what growth feels like. It feels uncomfortable because I'm stretching my comfort zone. Lots of times I tell myself, oh, a confidence is a side effect of taking action. So I want you to notice it. I want you to name it. I want you to normalize it. And I want you to reframe it. So that's all I have for you today. Two big ideas to build more confident women leaders. The first one is we don't need to fix women. We need to see more women in leadership in organizations today. And we're going to do that by promoting more women and having resources and processes to develop and promote women. And oftentimes, maybe even before their resume might match a man's, because we know that they just haven't had access to some of those opportunities. And the second big idea is I want you to take action. The actions of confidence come first. The feelings of confidence come second. As women, we need to do our parts. We need to stop believing the lie that we are unqualified and unready and take action, even when we're feeling a little bit of doubt and imposter syndrome. So this book officially releases on November 1st, but you can go to any of your favorite booksellers and pre-order it now. If you happen to be in the Omaha area, I'm doing a little in-person book launch event. There is more information on kellyraythompson.com/book, or you can go to closingtheconfidencegap.com/book, and there's more information about that. And then open until October 8th, I'm doing enrollment in my Fable book club too. And so there's more information about that all on my website. So the best place to go is to kellyraythompson.com, or you can send me a message about it or drop a link. But thank you so much for coming. I hope that you share the ideas or the tips that you've learned today. I'll be live again for the next few weeks, talking and unpacking more big ideas from the book. But I hope you pick it up. I hope you share it with your friends. And I would be delighted if I could see book clubs of women at work reading this book so they can show up more confident, more empowered, and thrive even in some of the systemic circumstances that we work with in the workplace. So thank you so much for coming. It was wonderful to see you. If you're watching on replay, feel free to comment, ask me questions, and I will see you here again next Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.